Hi everybody, it's Joni Young here. Welcome back for another acrylic painting tutorial. Today I'm going to show you a very colorful abstract floral painting. I've got all my beautiful Holbein paints here and I'll have a full list below this video in the description box as well. I'm going to be working on a 16 by 20 gray primed canvas today. I've got a few brushes here along the side. I'll start off with this one here, my big number 50 filbert brush, a number 20 flat brush. Then we've got a number 3 round and a 14 filbert brush. The colors I'll be using are titanium white, dioxazine violet, luminous rose, luminous violet, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, composed blue, sap green, quinacridone crimson, luminous red, and napthol crimson. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do is wet down the canvas at the top here with a little bit of water and my filbert brush. Once I apply a little bit of water here, I'm going to come in with my white and both of my yellows. So I'll just take a little bit of water. Adding a little bit of water to the canvas prior to the paint really is going to help you blend your acrylics. Okay, so before that can dry, I'm going to take some white and both yellows, just a little dab of each. And I'm just going to sort of crisscross to apply the paint. I'm going to take some more white, make it brighter here at the top. This way we're going to have lighter and darker tones of the yellows. You get so many more shades and hues this way by just adding a little dab here and there and then mixing slightly directly onto the canvas. I'll add a little bit more white down here as well. Okay, so the next color I'm going to take is a little bit of my sap green without washing my brush off and a little bit of yellow and white. And I'm just going to start pushing and tapping for some impressionistic flower or leaves and maybe some little flower buds. And of course, the flower buds are just light green before the flowers start coming out. Add a little bit more yellow here and there, and I'm going to bring some right up here along the top. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my brush, and I'm going to apply a little crisscross, pushes and taps to release the rest of the paint out of my brush. Okay, the next color I'm going to take is more sap green. Again, push and tap using the tip of the brush and the side. We're going to start coming in with our darker shadow areas, those deeper greens. But while we're doing this, we're layering over the lighter shades. So we're getting the dark and light all at once. Add a little bit more of that sap green. So you really want to approach painting like this very loosely and freely. Don't think about painting any one leaf or flower in full detail or to look like a photograph or very realistic. It's just about applying a lot of loose brush strokes, taps, dabs of colors, light and dark, and how it all just kind of comes together at the end. Okay, the next color I'm going to add is some violet, and I chose this because it's complementary with a green instead of using just plain black, because black can leave a painting very dull and flat. So try to use a really dark color or use some colors on your palette to make a really dark shade rather than just going and adding black. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to my brush. And this is gonna make these little taps and brush strokes transparent. And now I'm going to switch over to my number 20 flat brush, and I'm going to take some of the blue, it's blue compost, but I'm just going to call it blue for this painting. And I'm going to come in and just push, wiggle, and let off. Push, wiggle, twist, and let off. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre in with the blue. And this will give you some leaf shapes. You want to make sure that you're changing the direction of them so they're not all the same. So I'm using this blue so that we have some cool shades along with some warm. And by taking a little bit of the yellow ochre and adding that and kind of twisting and letting off, we're getting different tones in there, kind of like a one stroke. Saving you some time and effort. I'm going to come in with my yellow now. Still got a little bit of blue in there. And we'll add some of this. A little splash of color here and there. Pick up a little bit of white. Same technique, a little bit of white and yellow. You can add a little line like this. A few little lines in those leaves. Don't try to over detail though. Remember just to keep it loose. Then we're going to be applying our flowers in here, so we might be going over some of these areas. And I'm going to take a little splash of this beautiful violet, a little bit of white, and we're going to add a little bit of color little buds or flowers out of focus in between the leaves. Add a little bit of white again, just to make some of these a little brighter, especially when they dry. Okay, now with a clean brush, some turquoise, bluey turquoise, and some yellow. I'm going to push, wiggle, twist up on either side, or scoop, make a little scoop. and then add a little bit of green in. These are just going to be for some little rosebuds. I'm going to add a little bit of white to the turquoise. And just come around and add a little bit here and there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is take some white and a little bit of the rose. This is like the rose pink shade, luminous rose it's called. And I'm just going to start adding some loose brush strokes. Tell yourself you're not painting flowers, you're just painting little blobs of beautiful colors. And don't be afraid to go over some of the greens and yellows and add a little bit extra white here and there. The trick is to try to not overblend any one area. Apply these loose brush strokes, rough, and wait for it to just keep doing that and wait for it to all come together at the end with me. I'm going to take a little bit more white, a tiny bit of the pink, and now I'm going to take that yellow and blue again, push, tap, and pull this way and this way, just using 3/4 of the brush towards the end, starting from the middle. See how it's right there? So I load it, push a little bit, and let off. By applying these brush strokes, you'll create a little bit of leaves, and then I'm going to take a little bit more yellow and white and just dab over some of those. I'm going to take my number 3 round brush now. I'm going to get it a little bit wet, and I'm going to go back over to my violet. I'm going to take a little bit of the quinacridone crimson. This is quinacridone crimson right here. And I'm going to add a little scoop and then pull up. Add a little dab, little ball, and then add a few of those here and there for the rosebuds. Add a little bit more of my sap green. Mix that with the red. I'm going to choose a few areas down here on either side of the leaves and add a bit of this red tinted with a little bit of green. Let's add another one right here, little ball. a few more stems here and there. And a little splash of that crimson and green. And you can also just add a little bit of the crimson too. It doesn't always have to be mixed with the green, because we do have a lot of green already. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here with a little bit of my Napthol red. I'm going to take a little scoop, have a little dab on the end of my brush like this, and I'm just going to add a few little lines like that. One, another one there. And I'll take a little bit of white. Add a little dab of white in there. Try to not over blend. Add another little sap green and crimson along the sides. A little ball right there, and then pull. I'm going to take a little bit of white, go inside those lines to create a lighter shade, and also on the little ball there. Take a bit more of my sap green. Take my flat brush again, and I'm going to take my beautiful quinacridone crimson, and I'm going to create sort of a circle here for my rose, but keep these rough lines, kind of pointy edges for the flower petals of the rose. I'm going to make it darker inside, little dabs. I'm going to add another one here. A little something there. And add just a little bit of water to my brush, thin that paint out. Add a little bit more of my quinacridone crimson here so we can carry on with our flowers. And we're going to layer over some of this background. We'll keep some of them on the small side so they're not all the same sizes. So there's so many different types of roses, and I've painted lots of really round, smooth looking petaled ones, and I wanted to explore a little bit more with roses for a tutorial, making more of the pointy petals. I'll add a few little looser areas here. And now I'm going to take some of the rose. This is the luminous rose. And I'm going to come in and add little pulls and dabs. A little bit at a time. Different directions. So it's that combination of pointy and then a scoop. Okay, so the next color I'm going to take is the luminous violet right here. And I'm going to come in and add a few more little splashes of this color. And look how pretty it is when you go slightly over some of that bluey turquoise. And now I'm going to take my Napthol. This time I'm going to push and create little scoops. And then go around and add little peaks. Remember to just place it on there and don't overblend. You can use the corner of your brush to create lots of little petals that are like really tight together still and haven't quite fully opened up yet. Okay, now I'm going to take my number 14 filbert brush, my neon red, and I'm going to add it to some of the petals. Apply a little bit more of my luminous rose, and I'm going to take some white mix it with some white. Okay, back over to my number 3 round brush. I'm going to take a little bit of white and rose. And I'm going to come around some of the roses here, pick up a little bit more white. There's a little bit of blue turquoise in there that accidentally got pulled into this, but I like that. Another one of those little happy accidents. Let's take a little bit of white with our blue. Push, wiggle, let off. Push, wiggle, let off. Take some of my sap green with blue. Add a few rough looking leaves and edges. And then some more straight sap green. You can come back inside the roses with a little bit of quinacridone crimson and sap green to add a little bit more depth after you've done the petals. I find it's easier to do it with a little round brush like this or a little liner brush, whichever one you prefer. I'm going to come in with some yellow and white. I'm going to choose some areas to add a little bit more light to. A little bit inside some of these leaves. Now there's another luminous neon color by Holbein I want to add, and it's the luminous opera. It's more of a pink. I'm just having so much fun with color today. I want to add some of this as well. So I'm going to come inside, a little outside, and a little bit inside. Add a little bit of white. Well, by doing this, you're probably going to pick up, if you have thick paint like me, you're going to pick up some of those shades while you're doing this. And I love it when that happens, because then I'm just blending more colors together, creating more shades and highlights. Okay, back over to my white and yellow. Bring a little bit of light in here. A little bit of sap green. little bit of yellow ochre that I've got left. You can make a nice olive green shade. A little bit more of that violet, catch the edge. To me, it's just really about celebrating colors and beauty of flowers. You can be messy with your paintings, have fun, loosen up a little. And just really enjoy the process. Adding blue to some of these areas, layering over, just scattering the paint, not trying to make sense of anything. Take sap green, yellow ochre, white, and a little dab of turquoise. A little bit of greenery in there. Okay, and I'm going to come in with a final layer of neon red with my round brush. Choosing a few areas to apply heavier paint to, some thicker areas. So we've got a nice mixture of lots of thin little ones. And all these neons I'm using are transparent, so they'll let the other colors bleed through, ultimately creating different shades. Took a little bit of white, that red, a little bit of a pink there. the last little bit of yellowy olive green with some white. Just adding little patches. And then I've got a little bit of these rose and violet left, so I'll take a bit of white with that. Add a little bit of white to my red and pink here and just soften this petal up a little bit. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching this come together. Thanks so much for your support here and take care. I'll see you soon in another video. Bye!